Outrageous predictions. Ohio State getting ready to play Minnesota. A little over a week away from the game, but they have a game to play before that. Andrew, what is your outrageous prediction for what the Buckeyes are going to do to the Gophers on Saturday afternoon?
Well, it's not the Buckeyes, it's one guy. And I don't know if this sounds outrageous because we just saw it, but I think it's outrageous to do it twice in a row. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to score 3 touchdowns. Again, I think we're going to get another game where they force him the ball. I'm going to predict 3 touchdowns, 150-plus total yards from scrimmage. Like, I think, and this is going to be done, I want this caveat, this is going to be done in about a half of football. Like, I think this is going to be done midway through the third quarter. I think we're going to have a very similar thing with Marvin Harrison Jr. They want to get him the ball, like not just because of the Heisman stuff, but this is a game that you can put away early. And how do you put a game away early? How do you make things a runaway real quick? You get your best player the ball and you get out of there healthy. So I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is in for another big day. I think this is a Heisman week for him because you don't know what's coming in the Michigan week. You don't know kind of what's going to happen in that Michigan game, and this might be his last chance to really stack up some numbers. So I think they're going to do everything they can. I'm going to say, let's say 10 catches, 150 plus 3 touchdowns from Marvin Harrison Jr.
Another day at the office from Marvin Harrison Jr. from Andrew Gillis.
That was outrageous. 3 touchdowns?
He's done it multiple times in his career.
Back-to-back
We
weeks?
met him when he had 3 touchdowns. Go ahead, Dave.
He did. It's really his first game. Steven, what is your outrageous prediction?
Well, trying to top that, I said he'd have 3 last week. I didn't think one would be a rushing touchdown, but he had 3 touchdowns last week. They got to get Emeka Egbuka going. And this is where you do it. I think they'll get Marvin Harrison Jr. going too because Andrew's right. They got to get him stats. Mecca's out here right now working on the Monarch machine with Xavier and Reese Stockstill and Marvin Harrison Jr. So that crew's back together. He's been kind of building up to this. They targeted him 5 times last week. He only had one catch out of those 5 times. He doesn't have an 100-yard receiving game this year, which is crazy because I think he had like 6 last year. He hasn't had one since the Georgia game, and then the Michigan game he also had one. I'm saying he's going to have 10 catches and 150 yards on Saturday. It's because I think they might force feed him to get that part of the offense going because, yes, Marvin Harrison Jr. is awesome, and I'm expecting him to be awesome or some version of that against Michigan and against anybody else they play this year. But what makes them so dangerous, as we saw in the Notre Dame game, as we saw at times last year, is when both of those guys are operating at a high level. And 4 or 5 weeks back from an ankle injury where it seems like you're starting to catch your groove here, they got to get him going a week before the Michigan game, and I think the Minnesota game is a perfect way to do that. So 10 catches, 150 yards for Emeka Egbuka. I don't think the yardage would be a career high, but the 10 catches surely would be a career high for Emeka Egbuka.
So I guess I better go defense then, but this defense has proven so much. This defense is like, unlike some of these other situations, like with Emeka, they don't really have anything to prove or anything that they need to build on, I guess, going into this game. You're coming off a week where you would have posted a shutout if a guy hadn't kicked a 53-yard field goal. And it was funny when Jim Knowles was asked about that on Tuesday. You could tell he was kind of like, well, hats off to that guy because he knows how close they came to getting a shutout, and those are rare. And I don't think I can predict a shutout for the kind of the same reason I wasn't ready to predict one last week, which was because you're going to have so many guys that you're trying to play in a game like this. Getting the shutout is a secondary thing. It's trying to get guys healthy for the following week. But I'm going to say no touchdowns because all season long it's been 1 touchdown or 2 touchdowns that Ohio State's going to allow. And the next step forward has been to play teams at this level and say no touchdowns. So I haven't even figured out what I'm going to predict for the score of this game, but I'm locking myself in no touchdowns. Maybe I'll predict them to score like 7 field goals for 21 points now. But no touchdowns for Minnesota on Saturday. It will be another big game for this defense, just building some momentum going into what will be a much, much, much tougher challenge against Michigan. Listen to Buckeye Talk wherever you can find podcasts and get the text 614-350-3315. It's a great time to sign up because it comes with a 2-week free trial. It's only $3.99 a month after that, but 2-week free trial, and that'll take you through the game and all the stuff leading up to that from cleveland.com.